Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So today I did say I was going to come back with a sort of one-off project. So with this video with the leftover bits of decoupage that I have from these dogs. Okay, so we have 5 of them, which is a nice odd number, which I like. So let's pop them safe over there. And I'm going to be using the papers from the Brilliant Backgrounds, the Dogtails one. I'm going to be using a couple of different ones, I think. So let's just pop that to the side for a second. Now, with this video, you are going to need a pencil or a pen and a ruler. Okay, so the way I've worked this out to go on as a pop-up box on the 12x6 cardstock, I have managed to do it, and it does make a nice box, but the measurements aren't easy to remember. So I am going to do a template, so that will go up on Pinterest and Facebook, but it's easier to put these numbers down first with a pencil before you start scoring, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, so I've just lined that up at the top of my cardstock, and I'm going to mark at 4 inches, just a little mark. I'm going to mark at 5 7/8, so that's 2 notches below the 6. I'm going to mark at 9 7/8, that's going to be 2 notches below the 10. And I'm going to mark at 11 3/4, that's the easy one. Okay, so now we can come to our scoreboard. And the reason why I say to do it with pencil first of all is because the scoreboard, it only has 8ths and it doesn't have 16ths. So I can't tell you to do 2 notches below the 6, for example, because on the scoreboard there's only 1. So if you put these pencil lines in, it's going to be easy for you to see where you need to score. Okay, so I'm going to score at the 4 inch mark, the 5 7/8, and then I'm going to turn it around, and I can use my lines to match it up. So I'm just going to go to the nearest little score line across, and again there, which will be the second line in, so you'll know you're right on that one. If you want to, you can put the little marks at top and bottom if that's easier for you. Okay, so once you've got that in, you need to turn this around so you've got that what I'm going to use to glue. So that's the smallest fold, and you want that at the top of the board. And I'm going to score from 2.5 right down to this last fold line. Okay, so you don't want to score the whole way along the card, you just want to do it to that last score line. And hopefully you can just about pick that up. So this is one piece whole, no scoring on it apart from at this edge. Okay, now the next bit you can do with your trimmer if you want to. I just did it with my scissors. So on this thin edge here, so the bigger square is going to be at the bottom of our box. Okay, so I'm just going to pop a little notch in there and straight up. Okay, because this is going to be our glue tab. And then if I turn that around, so again I'm on this shorter edge, and just on all of those score lines we've done, just cut down to the fold line. And then there. Well, it's a bit harder for me to see with the lights shining on it. Okay, so that's what you're going to end up with. You're going to have a 4 inch piece. This is 2 notches under 2 inches. This one is 2 notches under 2 inches, and this one is 4 inches. And then that little bit that with 2 notches that we've taken off, which is 1/4 inch, that's going to be our tab. Okay, so now we can come in and do all of our scoring. So these ones we are going to, actually let me just, yeah, we're going to score out. And again, screw it down, fold it down and burnish. Okay, and then this one here, going to fold it up because that's going to be our glue tab. Give that a good burnish down, and then we can just burnish along all of these fold lines. And this is going to create our little box, which is going to lie down flat. It should go in a 6x6 envelope, and then it will pop up and be quite a dimensional thing. Okay, so let me pop that ruler out the way. Don't think we're going to need that again. I'm going to pop that one out of the way, and we'll get rid of that piece there. Okay, so I'm going to take some red liner tape because it is the strongest that we have, and I've got the super narrow one, and I'm just going to pop it on the outside like so. Okay, so you can see that that's all going to come together and stick like so. So I'm going to peel the lid off. I haven't taken it right to the top. You can do, but I'm going to use a little bit of tacky glue as well, just because tacky glue will sort of force those fibres together. It will glue those fibres together. So I can't speak, I don't know why. And then when we put it up, we've got our two that fold down, our one that folds at the front, and then we've got our back. And as you can see, it'll fold back into just around about our 6x6, so it should still go in the 6x6 envelope. Okay, so that is our start. I'll put that one to the back. We'll do mats and layers in a second. I'm going to bring the trimmer in. We're still on the assembly sort of side of things, and I'm going to grab another piece of cardstock. I'm going to use a fresh piece, but if you've got any sort of leftover from when we've been doing the cutting into cards, use that. And I'm going to make two pieces, and I'm going to cut them to 1 inch, mainly because these are quite large toppers. So I want 2 of those. And I'm going to cut them to 4 and 4.5 inches. And again with this second piece, 4.5. Let's get rid of those. And then if I bring my scoreboard back in, which is there, on both of these pieces, we are going to score at, it's not 1/4 inch, it's going to be at 1/8. So this on the board, it's the second line in, and the second line in. I've just rotated it around just to make that easy, and then that piece in the middle should be exactly 4. If you want to make these a little wider, you can do. You could go to, oh no, we want that one, the second one in. You could go to 5 inches and maybe have 1/2 inch. I was just going to have the narrower sort of tab there. So I'm just going to give those a little pop down. And these are the pieces that we're going to pop in, and they're going to have our decoupage on. Okay, so we're going to do that next, and then that can sit and glue for a little while we do our layers, because there's quite a few layers to do, because we are doing the front on the here, the back, and obviously the sides as well. Okay, so for these ones, I think I'm going to go, just for speed, I'm going to use my red liner tape, but you can use your tacky glue, your PVA glue. Probably wouldn't recommend your all-purpose glue unless you've got something to hold it in place, just because that wiggle room time is such a long time with the all-purpose glue, you may find that you know, something happens and it shifts out of position, which could be a real pain. Okay, so we're just popping those on like so. I am going to peel them both off, which could be fun. And what we want to do is just have a bit of space. So I'm going to have a dog or two on the back, and then I want maybe two here and then one quite close to the front. But the tab, this needs to go towards the top of the box, so you don't want it to be seen unless you particularly want to decorate it later on. So I'm just going to pop it in. I'm going to stick it on that side. I'm going to stick it on that side, and then just to make sure that's stuck nicely, I'm going to fold that down and give that a good press. And then what you should find is that that sits quite nicely in there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same again, and I will hold it up so you can see exactly the positioning that they are in there. And this can be the trickiest bit, which is sometimes why it's great to use that tacky glue. So again, I'm popping that in quite close to the front this time, and you can have whatever spacing you like there. You know, even if you wanted to space the dogs out more, have one on each tab, you know, you do as many as you want. But just remember, if you do make this tab wider, so let's say if you go to the 5" and then have ½ an inch each side as a tab, it will immediately take more space between each one. So at the moment you can see that there's my tab ends there, and there's a bit of space here before the next one starts. So just be aware of that if you make that bigger. Okay, so let's just get rid of that. So now that can just sit there, and we'll let that sort of glue and settle. And I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Okay, so let's fold it this way first of all. So the first mat I'm going to do is for this one here, and this mat is 4 by 3.5. So let's grab a piece of gold, because obviously the foiling on these dogs is gold, and I'm going to go 2 notches under 4 and 2 notches under 3.5, and that should fit quite nicely onto there, and it does. Now these sides, they're 2 notches under 2 in width, so I know it needs to be 1 3/4 1 3/4 by 3.5. By 3.5, so it's 2 notches under that 3.5, and that should fit quite nicely onto there. Okay, we've got another piece here. Let's see if we can get another piece out of that. So that was 1 3/4 by 2 notches under 3.5, and that's going to be for that other side there. Okay, so that's those bits done. So then turning to these bits here, so we know this is 2.5 by 4, so I will have to get another piece of cardstock. So I'm going to take that to 2 notches under the 2.5, and then 2 notches under the 4, and that one should fit quite nicely onto there. And then again, these are 2 notches under 2, so it's going to be 1 3/4. So 1 3/4. Let's try not to confuse you too much. 1 3/4, and that is 2.5. So 2 notches under 2.5. Okay, so that's going to go there, and then we want another one of those for the other side. Okay, so that's that one, that one, that one. This one here, it is 4 inches by 3.5, no, 2.5. But what I want to do, and I'm going to bring in another piece of gold, I just want to go a bit deeper than that, just so that the mat can go just below the eye level at the back. So I'm going to go 2 notches under the 4, and instead of going 2.5, I'm going to go to 2 notches. I'll go to 3.5. We'll see how that fits. I think that's going to be good. Okay, if you want to, you can do a piece that goes the whole length of that. So that would be the 6 inches, or 2 notches under the 6 inches. I'm not going to go that far on this one. I want to keep it a little bit light. Okay, put those bits to the side. Let's not put them on the computer because it doesn't like it. Okay, so coming to our patterned pieces now. What I thought might be nice, I got 2 sort of frames, or two ways of thinking. So I'm thinking I would love to do that again, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to do this green on the top layer, and then what I was thinking was, not the tree, there is this basket one, and I thought about doing the basket on the bottom with the dog on the top. Now what scenes have we got on these? Because I want a scene for here to try and make it all make a little bit of sense. And the one I chose for that, we could use the park, I'm not going to, was the, not that one, I might have gone past it that way. There's like a woodland scene, sort of a lakes, and it's, yeah, this one. So it's, I kind of thought this one is quite in the distance, so these dogs up against it being in the forefront kind of makes sense to me a bit more. So we are going to cut a bit of that for that background. Now I know I'm using a lot of papers, but I'm not using a lot of all the papers, so there will be some left over. So we will be able to use offcuts on different cards and such. You know, obviously if you wanted to make more than one of these, then you know, that's going to be brilliant. So let's do this back piece first of all. This is the back piece, isn't it? So that was 4 by 3.5, I think we did in the end. That's the 4. And it was by 3.5, yeah. And the 3.5 was the length. So we're going 4 across. So I think I'm going to come from here. So we're going to go to 3 3/4 for the layer. And I think, let's just see how we want this to look against our dogs. Do you want that bit there? Or do we want it a little bit further down? Oh, we don't want them in the water, do we? Now we'll do it from the bottom. So that was 3.5, so I'm going to take 2 notches off that, and hopefully that should be perfect for there. Yeah, and that's going to set our scene for our dogs. So again, it's got lovely paper on the back. We could have used that. I just thought, well, it's not what I want to use basically. Right, Mr. Beagle, let's pop you back in the kennel with the others. Okay, so let's do this one first of all. So these are the panels we need to cover for, no they're not. These are the panels we need to cover for that. And these are the, I'm just going to measure them again just to be sure. These are 2 notches under 4. So let's go to 3 3/4. And what I do is I will write all of these down so you don't have to measure, you don't have to remember them. And then that was 3.5, wasn't it? Yeah. So we can go 2 notches. No, we need to go to 3 1/4. And that should fit quite nicely onto there. Okay. And then for these pieces, remembering that they are that way up, so they are going onto a box that way. So I need to turn this paper around, and they were 1 3/4, so I'm just going to take another 2 notches off of that, and they were 3 1/2, so we need to go to 3 1/4. And I'm just checking it every time just to make sure I'm not going astray. And the reason why I've turned it around is just because obviously the weave, I want it to look like a basket all the way around. Okay, so we are going to 2 notches, 1 3/4 minus 2 notches, and then 3 1/4. And there is our basket all done. So let me get rid of those little pieces because it's unlikely I'm going to be able to use those again, and we'll pop that one out of the way. And then this really cute funky little pattern here, and this piece was the 2 1/2 by 4. It was the mat size that we're making it for. So if I go to 3 3/4 and then 2 1/4, I believe that should fit there quite nicely. Yeah. And then these were 1 3/4, so we need to go, I need to turn it around to make sure my orientation is right, because remembering we are narrow side up. So I need to go to 2 notches under 1 3/4 by 2 1/4, I think it is. Yeah, that should fit there quite nicely. And then hopefully we're going to be in a similar position to use that. Yeah, so that's the right size. And then 2 1/4 from there. Okay, so those are all of our layers. So we'll get the box decorated, and then we will start to add our dogs in. We will need the cutter again, and we will need some acetate to help us support our dogs, but we will sort that in a second. Okay, so let's bring our box in. You don't need to decorate these, because pretty much when it's standing and the dogs are on, you're really not going to see so much of them. Okay, and I'm going to be using my usual glue, which is the, actually let me just get a little bit of tissue on that nozzle, it's just a bit sticky. I was using it to put inserts in yesterday, and I didn't clean it up behind me. I could have done with a fill. Let me just fill that before we start. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but all I do is just ease that nozzle out, which is just a bit sticky now, and then we bring in the clout all-purpose. It automatically just forms a little seal with the last little bit of all-purpose glue that was on there, and then I'm literally just going to fill that up. I sort of was setting up today, and then unless my sister came round, so that was more important than the video. So I had a nice chat with her, so I haven't seen her for a couple of weeks. So okay, and because this is paper, I'm going to be using the Crafter's Companion Dotty Tape pen. You could use the Dotty Tape pen over all of it if you're brave enough. I just like a little bit of wiggle room time to get things into position. So, and I wouldn't advise using the tacky glue on this because it's paper, and there is that water content in it, and obviously you need a thicker card to be able to take it. So the paper works better with the drier glues and the all-purpose. Okay, so once we've got that in position, I can give that a good press down, and those glue dots will glue on. So I'm just going to go through and glue all of these together. Let's do the dots first of all, otherwise it gets a bit slippy. That's what I usually forget to do. And And have you been watching, any of you watch the Hobby Maker today? Did you see the Christmas launch? I mean, there is a dog in nearly every kit, and horses and donkeys. So I am going to be buying that tomorrow. I did think about getting it from Hobby Maker because I got this card through the door today saying I am 20% off code. And I thought, oh, shall I get it from there? Shall I not? And then I thought, no, I'll see what, because obviously I'm going to get the whole thing, the big blockbuster, because I like the inserts. They do add a lot to the crafting of a kit like that, because you can use them as backing papers. Plus it just looks nicer, doesn't it, with a nice insert that matches. So yeah, I'm not so bothered about the little books. I mean, I do like the little books, but I've got so many of them, and I did like sell some because Mum had collected them, to be honest with you. So there was like 2 great big A4 boxes full of them, and there's no way I was ever going to be able to use them all, not in any sort of quick fashion. And because there's so much in them, do you know what I mean? It would take you a month or Sundays to even just get through all of those. Even if I just foiled them and put them on cards, it would still take such a long time. So I did get rid of some, very sadly. But I've still got loads, because like some were part used and some, like the tops fall off. So you don't even know what the name of them is anymore. So I am hoping to make some little boxes of Christmas cards for the charity, but we'll see how time goes. At the moment I have been spending my little spare times colouring, because I've been really enjoying my colouring at the minute. It's been a while since I've enjoyed it, and watching a lot of videos, and Leanne and other people on YouTube. It seems to be making a difference now. I feel a bit more confident about it. I'd love to do a video on it with some Tracy Hay stamps at some point, but I'm not quite there yet. But don't mind putting that away because I will need it. Okay, so we've got all of our pieces on. I think I'll start with that back piece first of all. So now we can go back to our normal glues, because we're going card to card. So I can put my all-purpose on there, and the all-purpose is perfect to use on a project like this because it does dry like concrete, so it is going to give us that really good support for the length of this card. So all I'm doing, and it's very difficult to show you, I'm just popping that in. That's going over that fold that we made. Whoops, it's alive. And all we need to do is just make sure we've got that sort of level. Okay, and then I think next I'm going to come to these underlayers. Sorry, my glue's a bit squirty. Probably could do with a refill as well. Is there a right way or a wrong way? I feel that's a bit happier on the eye. And this would be great if you've got any balloon dies, you know, it feels like a hot air balloon sort of, this print, you know, you wouldn't necessarily have to use it on dogs. If you had a load of balloons, I know in the past that there has been die cut sheets, I think, from Hunkydory with just balloons and butterflies, that sort of thing. That would be super cute coming out of this sort of a box card. Just popping that on. And you can see it does fold both ways, which is it took me about 4 or 5 samples to get it to do that. Measurements. Yeah, I really did try hard. I really wanted to get it out of this 6 by 12. Okay, so those are our pieces. That's how it's looking at the moment, looking pretty gorgeous. Now we have to remember to fold these down. Do not forget to fold those down, otherwise this is going to be on the wrong side. So let's go ahead again with our glue. And if you wanted to, you could go in and do the whole, you know, carry on with the scene all the way around, if you didn't want to go like fun and sort of funky like I've done here. You know, there's a lot of different patterns in that book. You've got your duo design pads as well, with loads of different designs in. So, you know, don't just think dogs. It's what I've decided to do with it. I haven't done one of these for such a long time. So I just thought it'd be cool to use them in that way. And plus, I don't think this is going to be going anywhere. I think this is going to be on my shelf. The only thing that I'm a bit sad about, well, a lot sad about, and you know I'm going to say it, there's no Scotty dog. Where's the Scotty dog? Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I can identify with, not identify, but you know, all of these dogs in this kit pretty much, apart from the beagle. I know dogs, or we've had dog. Okay, so let's bring our little dogs out a minute just to talk about them. So to my eye, we have different perspectives of these. So this one and this one, they seem a bit further away, so they are going to go towards the back. And then this one and this one seem quite large, and this one is medium. Okay, so that's the order that I'm going to do them. Now, in order to pop them onto here, we need to cut some acetate. So let's bring back the trimmer. And I'm going to cut these in 1-inch pieces because these are quite substantial and I do want them to stand, which is why I've done the bigger struts on the box. So I'm going to do, let's cut one, just using up this odd piece that I've got. I'm going to cut 2. I don't need any for the back because they'll go on the back. And I think I'll be cutting those in half anyway. We can always cut another one if we want to. Okay, so I think it's going to be easiest if we start by sticking the ones to the back first of all. Let me bring that red liner tape back as well because we will need that. Okay, so let's have a little look. So where are you gone? Found a rabbit hole. So it doesn't matter if he comes over the side of the box because he's still going to go in an envelope. We just have to make sure that it's not going to interfere with the folding. Okay, so let's just, so he's looking that way and this dog is looking that way, so I kind of feel like I don't want them looking in different places. I kind of want them sort of looking similar directions. Okay, so I think what we'll stick them on with, we'll go with this glue, the tacky glue. I'm going to pop a little bit up his head. I think pretty much his head is going to be on, so we're all right with his head. I'm just avoiding his feet because obviously they are going to come over the side. And what I've done, we just want to make sure that we can still close that without him being bent. There's nothing worse than a dog with a bent leg. There we go. So he is there. I'll take him up just a little bit. So he's sitting in the stream. And then we've got this one. He's going to be coming from the other side. Obviously you can pop these on however you want. But he's coming that way. Obviously he's heard his name being called. Just checking that that is going to. I think the more we do that, the more our paper's going to remember what it's supposed to do. Okay, so now we've got these. So this one, I think we're going to pop in the back here. So I was going to say, where's that acetate gone? Let me grab a knife. I think there is a coating on this. Yep, there it is. So this is Crafter's Companion Heavyweight Acetate. You can use any acetate as long as it's quite stiff. So this is it's flexible, but it's quite stiff. I don't know if I can show you I've got the thin acetate from Hunkydory, and that would not do the trick. Okay, so it does need to be a thicker one. So you might find some, if you haven't got any in the house, if you've bought any craft dies recently, especially like Creative Expressions, you may find it on their packaging. You know, you may be able to cut it off their packaging, because that is really strong acetate, even stronger than this. Okay, and then we want a little bit on our dog. So I'm thinking we'll pop it around his middle. I don't need all of that. Let's just cut that there. Pop that off. Would go and get stuck, wouldn't it? There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the back off, and I'm going to pop this in the middle. So I'm going to pop that down about a quarter of the way, and then I'm just going to see where our dog's going to come to, and I'm just going to give that a little trim. So we don't want that to come over the top of the dog, we just want it to support our dog on the back. Okay, and what I actually am going to do is just get stuck to that piece of red tape. I'm just going to put another little bit just below where I've put it already, just as an extra support. I've just thought that's probably may not be enough to support our dog. I don't want it to fall apart in 5 minutes time, do you know what I mean? Okay, and actually what I'll do is just pop a little bit of all-purpose in there, because apparently this is the stuff that sticks as well. So I'm going to pop him in. It doesn't matter that his legs are a little bit down. That's going to be, if I turn that way, that's the view. Okay, so we've got our 3 dogs hanging out by a river. Okay, and then I think, because that one is slightly nearer than our Jack Russell, maybe we can have him down here, and then we'll have, will I be able to put that up though? That might be a big mistake. Yeah, we'll pop him in. We'll pop him. I'm not going to glue him to that strut. I'm just going to do the Jack Russell to that second strut, and then I'm going to put another piece of acetate here, and we'll have him sitting on there. I kind of would like him there. We could still fold it that way, couldn't we? Yeah, we'll do that. So I'm just going to have our little Jack Russell again. So I'm thinking this along. I had the idea, I've not really completely planned it out. We're just seeing how it works. I think it would be better if all the dogs were the same sort of dimensions, but we're working as if they're getting bigger as they're getting closer to you. So again, that red line of tape on the bottom of this bit of acetate, and it's just still that first piece that I've cut that little bit off. And let's see, where do we want him? We want him on this side, don't we? Because we're having our Frenchie on the other side. So is that going to come over the top of him? A little. So let's just take a little haircut off that. So I've just taken 1/4 inch maybe. So this one again, red line of tape, And this really is one of those things where you don't really worry about whether it can be seen, because it's not the view that you're going to be looking at the card with. Another thing you can use, but I don't know how well it would work in the long term, would be your runners, tape runners. But what I would suggest, if you are going to use your tape runners, I would suggest you put tape on your acetate and tape on the actual dog, just so you've got glue to glue instead of glue to paper or glue to acetate. Okay, so, and again, I'm not doing any sort of tacky glue, nothing to give me a bit of wiggle room time on this one. I'm not even bothering with the all-purpose for Ajak Rasson. Okay, and then this one, again, we've got that covering on. Not that it's super important, but it's just the reminder of the thing to do with this type of acetate from Crafter's Companion. And it's only the heavyweight acetate, I think, that does it, that they put the cover on. I don't know if any other companies do it, to be honest, so you might be able to help people out in the comments if anybody does ask. Especially for you guys in the States, you know, but I don't know if Crafter's Companion is the place for you to get, is the place where you get your acetate, or whether there are other companies. There must be other companies that do acetate, but I don't know if they do the same. So we did say we were going to come down a bit with him, didn't we? So I think what I'll do is I'm going to give this a haircut to about there, and I'm going to take a sliver off it that way, just because its head is going to come across, and I think we'll use that as a support, keep that down so it will stay down. And I might put a foam pad, and actually we'll do that first of all. So so I'm going to make sure that stays down. So I grab a couple of 1mm foam pads. Although if I do, yeah, I'm going to pop that down so it will stay down. It's not going to affect the fold. It's just going to look better for our dog. So let's just pop that down. If you wanted to glue the other sides down, you can, but I'm going to leave those as our sticky up bit. And then we've got our piece that's going to go on. And like I say, you don't have to put as many dogs on as this. You might want to put some dogs and some butterflies. Maybe you want to cut out some of these balls and bones and things and have them floating about with him, because that would look quite cool with the dog and the ball. Dog chasing the balls. That'd be Henry, that would. So he's going on there, like so. Well, actually it's she, it's Doris. So when the card is closed, it's going to be like that. Now we do need a sentiment. So let me grab the kit, which is here, and we will pull out the fresh sheet, which does happen to be that Frenchy one. And I'm just going to steal this round sentiment, which says "with love forever" or "forever." Obviously, if you've got other sentiments, a little book of sentiments, that sort of thing. This one I'm going to pop on. It's got some ribbon on. I'm just going to pop some 1mm pads on. And this I will put a little bit of tacky. That's on there. And then just to finish off, I've got some of my favourite green gems, which happens to be these super shiny ones. And I'm going to pop one this corner here. Pop two in that corner there. Oops, come on. Now just gently, I think I might have to stand that up so those don't move. And then I'm going to do the same on this piece here. Pop 2 on there. Now if you are a person that likes sub-sentiments, like having a main sentiment and then lots of little ones like happy birthday and then have a great day, enjoy your day, have a relaxing day, those sort of things, so you've got more than one sentiment, then they are perfect with these type of cards. Obviously there's nothing stopping you putting a dog on these flaps. Okay, oops, his ears got stuck behind that dog, but turn that way so you can see all of our lovely doggos on there. Those are all the ones that we had spare from the cards that I've made up beforehand. So next time I come back, it is going to be with the botanical birds. I know some of you are not a fan of birds, but it is a nice kit and it's matte-tastic, which is really nice. You know, I like to work with a matte-tastic kit. Really easy, especially with glues and that sort of thing to work. After that, it's probably going to be this Christmas blockbuster when it comes. I will be, like I say, I will be ordering that tomorrow. So I expect that I will get that early to mid next week. And then we will start working our way through the kits there. But hopefully you've liked this card today. It is a little bit different from what I normally do. And it's a nice little thing for, you know, younger people, older people with flowers. You know, in hospital, there's no reason why you can't swap these out for flowers. You know, like the decoupage kit with the sunflower decoupage. If you've got any of those odd little sunflowers left over, or the daisies or the fuchsias, you know, you could always just stick one of those on a bit of the acetate. And you don't have to have the acetate as thick as I've had it. I've had it quite thick because there's 3 layers to pretty much most of these dogs. If it's a smallish flower, you can just go with a strip 1/4 inch. You know, so just look at what you're putting on there and how you want it to stand. I mean, if it's a butterfly, it's nice to have that little bit of curve, because that means that the butterfly will flutter when there's a breeze coming through. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch and comment and like, and some of you guys do share as well, and I am hugely appreciative of that. Like I say, I'll be back next time with those botanical birds, and we'll see what treasures we can make with that one. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting. Bye bye.